Tanya Inside Out at G4 Tough Shin Pei Vav. So we're going to try and discuss chapter 23 today, yeah. And this is really it's difficult. It's very difficult. It's one of the most difficult Prakim in Tanya. What?
A doozy.
A doozy. Oh yeah, okay. I'm from England. So just to recap very quickly, we got the groundwork of Kaf Aleph Kaf Base last week, where we were trying to describe, or not describe, what's the word? To define what Yichud Hashem means. And when we say Yichud Hashem, we don't mean like what Sruli said is that that there's no other power in reality. Yeah, that's basically what you said. There's no other independent force in reality.
Yeah.
Is that a good description of what you said?
To recognise Ein Od Milvado in actuality.
The what?
To recognise Ein Od Milvado in actuality.
In actuality. Okay, you're talking about the practical, but the idea of what does it mean, Ein Od Milvado? Yeah, it's not just poetry. It actually means Ein Od Milvado. So the question becomes, like we said, look, I can appreciate that all of this is nothing, somehow, like a picture on a screen, but my own independent sense of self, that's a problem when you say Ein Od Milvado, because I know that I exist. I'm here. Now, so you might say, well, you're so teeny, yeah, that, and Hashem is so big that really you don't exist because you're just so small. But that's not existing. That's just being very, very small. So what we try to do, the mashalim we have in our generation are just unbelievable. I suppose the mashal that we've had for many generations is the idea of scratching away from a rock. You have a rock, yeah, call it Sur Elamim, and you take a diamond chisel and you scratch the name Chaim into the rock, yeah? And so what did you add to the rock?
You took away.
Yeah, there was no added, there is still not only a rock.
No, you took away pieces of the rock when you scratched, but you left an imprint.
But you're left with
An imprint.
But there's nothing more than the rock. There was only the rock. Now there's the rock with an allusion, or so to speak, some kind of gilui of the word Chaim. But you never added anything to the rock.
Whenever you repurposed the rock, it had definition of plain rock. Now it has definition of Chaim in that rock.
But okay, that's maybe a different thing to say. But just the idea of now we've got.
Oh, that's a great metaphor.
We've taken it away from the rock, yeah.
Amazing.
But we've now got Chaim and the rock. There's still the rock, but we've got the illusion of the word Chaim or whatever. We've got the imprint of the word Chaim there. You know what I'm saying? So now this is really a Russia, yeah. Is a very good marshal. The Russia. His name is very deeply etched. The tzaddik, his name is very, 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 very slightly, maybe just like the difference between the halachas of cutting the challah in the week and on Shabbos. In the week, the halach is you should cut it, as long as it doesn't break, you should cut it more than half even, yeah? Like to cut all the way through. On Shabbos, they do like a little line on the challah. There's nowhere to cut. It's just mindful. But the idea is that the Russia...
That's not halacha, that's just your thing.
It's halacha. It's not, I don't think you're going to get
It's
a minhag. It's a minhag, yeah. It's brought in halacha.
So you have two of them and you want to make sure which one
the cutting of the bread on chol, like to cut through so that you save time when you actually cut the bread, that is halacha. And the scratch is to show to know where you're going to cut to save time. That's what they bring down to the pashtus. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point is though that a Russia, his name has been deeply scratched into the rock. So what does that mean? The more a person exists, the less the rock exists. The more of the rock has to be taken away. Whereas the tzaddik, he's just a very subtle scratch in a sense. So the point is that your own existence, your feeling, your sense of independent existence, is the amount that Hashem is that's a hollow space, so to speak, in creation. And that's why just a very easy way of remembering this whole thing is acronym ego.
He didn't draw that a picture.
Much better than that. Elokus gone off. Your sense of independent self is the most real thing in the world, in that it's Hashem's, so to speak, avatar in this world.
Hashem's the rock, and you're.
But Hashem's the rock who wants to come into his world. So the consciousness of the Jew, let's say the human, I don't know. Let's say the human. The consciousness of the human being is the way which Hashem comes into the world. That's like points in. So we gave the example of a dream. Okay, so you're lying in bed in Jerusalem, and you're dreaming that you are Chaim in Paris.
You're what in Paris?
You're dreaming that you are Chaim, some other guy.
Oh, Chaim in Paris.
In Paris.
Oh, okay.
You're in bed in Jerusalem.
Like that movie, that Woody Allen movie.
I don't know.
He doesn't know about
And
it.
that's it. But
in Paris?
I saw a lot of movies there. But
Owen Wilson.
okay, this is a trippy thing to understand. It's a
very
big
deep.
trip. So now you're in bed, yeah, in Jerusalem, and you're having a dream that you are Chaim in Paris. Now, in your mind, there's Chaim, and then there's Paris. You with me? That's a dream. I'm just adding a nuance. Usually, you're you in your dream, but in this case, you ever saw that thing? What was it called? Quantum Leap. You remember that with Sam Beckett? You remember? Yeah, like that. Whatever. That was a long time ago. But you're that's called an avatar. You are an avatar in a dream world. But really, all there is your mind. Nothing got added. There's just your mind. Yeah. Now imagine like this. So all of this exists. So Paris exists. Paris and Chaim exist in your mind, and you're walking through the streets of Paris, looking down at your Sephardi hands and your white beard, and you're like, okay, this is interesting. You see yourself in the mirror. You're like, wow, okay, yeah. So you're Chaim walking through the streets of Paris. But in your mind, there's just all of that is existing in the fabric of your mind. Nothing ever got added to your mind. Nothing's got taken away from your mind. It's just the fabric of your mind, yeah?
I heard I wrote that dreams are the...
Wait. Don't go there. Just try and understand. There's no point in going there. It's not going to be helpful.
You make it wrong.
So now, just imagine this, yeah? Just add on to this, yeah? You're Chaim in the dream in Paris. Now, we can't understand this, but conceptualize it, yeah? Could you potentially also be Shlomi in Paris at the same time? In that concept that you're seeing Paris through the eyes of Chaim, and there's another avatar that you are. That doesn't really happen. Yeah. What?
I think it's almost impossible. I think it's impossible.
But can you understand the idea?
Conceptually, yeah.
Conceptually, that's what I'm trying to say. Conceptually, you don't know where where it would be playing. Like, how would that work? But if you can see the world through the eyes of Chaim, if your mind was big enough, you could also be seeing the world through the eyes of Shlomi as well.
Conceptually,
Yeah?
we're not.
Times that
Yeah.
by 8 billion. So you haven't just got Chaim and Shlomi.
Well,
You've got 8 billion human beings, and maybe add in all the animals, and maybe add in all the vegetation,
sure.
and maybe add in forget all that, maybe add in all the molecules and the atoms. Who knows where consciousness begins and ends? Who knows?
Well,
and the vibrations are unlimited, so doesn't matter. But you get the point. So we're experiencing the same. Look, we're both looking at this besamim, yeah. You're seeing it from this angle. So I can't say it's just existing in my head, but maybe I'm existing in his head. And the ultimate kind of failing is taking ownership of my consciousness. That's Hashem coming into his world, and I've in my Gaiva, that's the right word, I've taken ownership of that point of consciousness. That's called Elokus gone off. That's ego. You can remember the whole thing in that word, one word, Elokus gone off. That me thinking that I'm me, as opposed to just a point of entry through a body. Masha'en came the tzaddik doesn't just understand what I said like we do. And you can't even say he experiences what I just said, because there's no him to experience. The tzaddik is just a window to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's it.
It's a bit of a Descartesian way of looking at it.
Chas v'shalom, it's mamash Yiddish.
No.
In a good way. He might have articulated it something. Yeah, Spinoza also tried to articulate it a little bit. He didn't say it quite so good. But that's Yiddishkeit. We exist as a thought in the
The classic thought experiment that they give in colleges when you start learning Descartes or philosophy is that what if you're just a brain in a vat and everything you're experiencing is just...
Well, that really is true. I mean, that is the basic, but we're going one step further.
Right.
So number one, that's already a madrega,
right.
To realise that all of this, even your body, just exists in your consciousness. Right. One step further is that your consciousness exists in his consciousness as well.
A short story I once read. Basically, you're driving along, and somebody dies, and then they're meeting God, and then they realize basically that every single person existed, and every single person that will exist is you, and you're basically a universe being born, and therefore you are every single person, all encompassing, and you just have to go live as every single person that exists.
So I don't know. That sounds like, but you could look at it as as an organism.
Like you're Hitler, but then you also the 6 million people that killed.
The difference between Descartes and Bob Spinoza actually had a Torah upbringing that just went off because he got put into harem, and then he just decided to go off completely because he wanted to be a family Yid.
I don't know the story of him.
Reb Diamond, do you know who Alan Watts is?
Who?
Alan Watts. You've heard of him?
Alan Watts sounds familiar.
It's like this hippie philosopher in the 70s. He's very popular on YouTube these days. Has been for a while now. He said something like, and I'm not sure how correct this is. He said something like, we are God experiencing himself through a human body.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, the way that Tanya speaks about it is really how I just said it, is that you imagine, if you close your eyes, and imagine a Buick, a pink Buick, Well, let's do it. It's a thought experiment, okay? You close your eyes and you imagine a pink Buick, like one of the old ones from in Greece, like from the 60s. With the big, the tail, the mirror, the tail lights going up, the whole thing. And now, look inside the window, It's like a wind down window, and you look inside when it's got like a fluffy white, whatever. And then you look at the steering wheel, and you've basically what you've done is you've created an image in your mind. And now I say, stop. Where did the car go? That's basically now you're imagining the car in your mind is giving, so to speak, life to the car. That's what's going on here. But don't fall into the trip of thinking that this is an illusion. That's the difference in our thinking and his thinking, Yisbach, is that without it, he calls it speech. But with our thinking, the image exists in our mind. And then when we stop energizing that image, it's just gone. And that would be as it is here. But he's imagining now what he doesn't really say it in the Tanya, but what V'yol Khan, I'm just learning it in another sefer right now. It's a moedic idea. Maybe I'll explain this now. This is a chiddush to me, so I'll explain this. It's in the right place. So, okay, B'ezrat Hashem. So why did Hashem create the world through the Esser Spheres? Why didn't he just go... You realise that nowadays, the timers that they have on Torah is you say, Hashem created the world in 6 days. You're talking about it's 14 billion years of history. In the old days, the timer was, what kind of God does it take 7 days to make a world? 6 days? Why can't just my God made the world like this? Your God stepped it out.
Based on the Christian, the James understanding of Bereshit. It's not based on the Jewish understanding of Bereshit. So James Bible translates Yom as days, but Yom could also mean a time period, and the fact is it's not really.
Yeah, we don't care. It's fine. No, we don't need to go there. Either way,
Yeah.
whether those 6 days were and how it worked, that's a different story. But this idea of why did he schlep it out? Why didn't he just create it in one shot? If I was God, I'd probably create it in one shot. Like, get it done quick. Why not? But so the question is, what about the 10 spheres? Yeah. So this is a very, very deep point, and it's so beautiful. Is that we've spoken about this before? You have Kiyam and you have Chias. Yeah. Although I think Chias should be said Chayas, but my Chavru said this way. I asked him, and he said maybe, but everyone says Chias. So from now on, I'm saying Chias, not Chayas, or just not knowing. So you have Kiyam and Chias. Yeah. Kiyam means that you take up space. Kiyam is from Lashon Makol. Yeah? Some kind of space has been taken up. Kiyam means existence, yeah? So the rules of existence are, in a place where something is, something else can't be there. Okay? Like, if there's a car, this isn't rocket science.
Like it's time cop.
What? Maybe. I don't know what that is, but if you got...
getting into Computer?
Wait, no. We're explaining why that isn't the case. We're explaining what it means. Simsim Loka Pshuto. Exactly. This is what we're going to explain here. Exactly the point. So you have a place. Yeah, that's called the kiyum of something. Something has a kiyum. On a level of kiyum, everything is the same. It is. It just is. Yes or no. Binary. If it is. Yes, if it isn't, it isn't. So if you want to understand creation in like a kind of I don't know how we'd call it, like a subcategory, like a folder, like subfolders. Yeah, how you'd have on Windows, you could have one folder. The first folder would just be called.
Tree hierarchy.
Let's say like that. So the first folder, this actually I never thought of it to explain like this. This is a good idea. The first folder on your desktop. There's a desktop, yeah? It's a white desktop. Then you have a black folder on it, which is titled Is. That's it. Is with an S, yeah? Now you open that folder. In that folder, there are 2 folders. What do you think those 2 folders are entitled?
Is and is not.
No. Once you is, you can't not be.
I mean, you could do that.
It's not. What would be the... Once something is...
It is.
In the first thing that you could say about that thing that is, what would it be?
It is.
It exists.
Hashem is, and then...
No, that's before. Now there's Hashem is the white screen.
It's a folder.
Yeah?
It's a
The folder, the black folder is everything else. Yeah? So that the first category that everything is subsumed within is called is. Now inside that folder you've got two folders, 2 black folders again, Ruchnius and Gashmius. Everything that is, and it gets more complicated. There's maybe like subfolders and hidden folders and all kinds of funny stuff going on. But just to understand, So within the is folder, you've got 2 folders, Ruchnius and Gashmius. Yeah? Let's say. Let's go into the Gashmius folder. Okay, you click open the Gashmius folder. You've got 4 folders in the Gashmius folder. What are the 4 folders in the Gashmius folder?
There's many options of it.
Maybe, but I think... Busy, there you go, thank you. Doimem, Somer, Chai, Medaber. Yeah, there is other things you could say, but let's just say like that. Let's keep it simple. That's what I was thinking. So you've got inanimate vegetation, animal, and human.
Intelligent.
And exactly. So now let's take Chai. Okay, you've got those 4 folders. You got Chai. So you click on the Chai folder. What are the folders in Chai?
Elephants, tigers, bears.
No way. No way.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right.
There's a bunch of things you can say. Let's say mammal and reptile. Let's say.
Yeah.
Families.
What?
The families.
Exactly. So let's say mammal and reptile. Okay, if you were a biologist, you could say more than that. Let's just keep it simple, yeah? So you've got mammal and reptile. Good. Okay, let's click on mammal. What's in mammal?
You have more families.
So you've got like canine, bovine, caprine, porcine, feline, yeah? Those, whatever. Yeah, so now go to bovine is cow, which includes hippos. Caprine is like goats, which includes sheep, I think. Canine, equine is horse. Feline, yeah. So feline is cat. Okay, so now we got feline there, yeah. Let's click on feline.
So we have tigers and
Maybe I think it breaks down into big cat, little cat. But let's say tigers and cheetahs and leopards and jaguars and
tigers and bears. Not bears.
Lions.
No, so lions.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
So now click on tiger, and you'll have Sumatran, Bengali, Siberian. You'll have a bunch of different tigers. Yeah, maybe. So now, what we just did was we described the chias of those things. The kiyum was is. It just is. Now, as you go down and you start describing what that thing is, you start adding, so to speak, chias to it. So the chias is what it is. The chias, when you talk about the chias is what makes you and me, and the table a table. Like, why aren't you a table? That's like a stupid question. Or why is fire, and why is water? That's a din on the chias. That's the Rebbeinu Shalom coming into his world. That's why Hashem made the world with the Esespheres. Why? It's so unbelievable. You could sit there, if you had a pen and paper, or ask ChatGPT, yeah? He'll do it for you better. Yeah? Tell me all the differences between water and fire. Like, what makes water and fire? Yeah? And just let's keep it pasha.
Water is wet.
Water's wet, it's cold, it goes down, it levels off, it cools down, it sticks things together, whatever, yeah? Fire goes up, it's yellow, orange, red, it's hot, it burns, it makes things break apart, etc., yeah?
And be confined by shape.
What?
It's the opposite of water, because water is always confined by the shape of what it's in, and fire is never confined.
So there's a bunch of different stuff, and as we could go on and on. Every different, again, let's be chassidim here. What does it mean to be a chassid? 3 words. Lifnim, mishur sadin. Yeah? Means stop looking at the graphics and start thinking about what's actually going on, yeah? So the qualities of water, the qualities of water could be described in the program. In the world, you could talk about it forever, all different things, yeah? In the program, in the actual programming, in the coding, with a key of 10. Could call that Kesser, Chochma, Bina, yeah, Chesed, Gevur, Tfes, Netzach, Yisod, Malchus. The reason why water goes down and why it's cool is because of Chesed. The reason why fire goes up and is hot is Gevur. Yeah, and get crazy, complicated with everything. Every quality that X has, you could plot it on that system of 10. Okay, and it's all relative as well. This is what my Rav Haas said to me, a man that I'm close with, big Talmud Chacham in Pneumius, very big Talmud Chacham in Pneumius. He said to me, "What's the inyan of you need 10 people to make a minyan?" So
you need all different types of juice.
So yeah, but listen to how it works out. Because a partsuf is by definition relative, meaning chesed is chesed and gevur is gevur, yeah? But, so you've got a guy who's very chesedic, yeah? Stand him against a guy who's very, very chesedic, and he's now gevuridic. It's relative. It's all relative. The spheres are relative. You with me? That's what partsuf is. That's what it means. A
It's like
partsuf.
you know Tanya, but stick you in the room with the Lubavitcher Rebbe and suddenly you don't know Tanya.
Yeah, of course, exactly. Everything's relative. But I'm talking in regards to like character traits now, or qualities.
Yeah.
So now listen to this. By that definition, if I go to a room, you got guys who are chesedik, you got guys who are gevuradik, you got guys who are emesdik, whatever. You got chachamim, you've got mavinim, Now, if you go into any room with 10 guys, let's say you go into like a prison and wherever it is, and all these guys are mamash crazy balei gevura. So you'd say to me, look, we got 10 balei gevura here. We don't have any chesed here. We don't have any hoid here. We've just got gevura. Sorry, we don't have any netzach here. We've just got gevura. But then you say, wait, let's take these 10 guys. Now let's analyze these 10 guys.
Amongst them, there's going to be one that's going to be more one than the other.
And if you've got 10 guys, by definition, you're going to have all of the spheres. By definition. That's the inyan of the 10 yidden by a million. Moedik, no?
I get
great.
You have a kumash lema. Moedik.
We want all the different tzibur.
What?
Sadiqim ben Nimrashayim. Tzibur.
Yeah. That's a slightly different. But it's the same idea. Same idea.
You have to think of it.
It's not really different. That's good.
Logically and visually, right? It's very easy for us to imagine things plotted on a 3-dimensional graph. But now you're saying to plot things on a 10-dimensional graph, which is
with morality and whatever kind of plotted in as well.
Yeah,
that's the point. Yeah,
and it's a very complex plotting exercise.
Oh no, you're saying 10 dimensions, with just according to the spheres. Forget time.
If you put each one of them not X, Y, Z, but QRST.
Wow. That's a whole new thing you just said there. Wow. Exactly that. That's exactly what we're saying here. Yeah, Moedik. You're not talking about 6 dimensions after time. Right. You're saying just forget, it's a completely different way of understanding reality, which is a much more real way, which is the real way of understanding reality. So what you just said just cracked the whole thing wide open. So when we are understanding reality,
can you repeat what you said?
Let him say.
It's exactly that. That's really perfect.
That's where you're really getting into string theory.
What?
That's where you're really getting into string theory.
Forget string theory. I don't know. But what we're just saying is like right now we think the dimensions are length, breadth, depth, and time. Yeah, 4 dimensions. And on the pshat of this world, that's correct, yeah? You want to say spirit, whatever. But we're saying, no, go deeper in. Everything can be plotted on the qualities of... Like, what would a table be? I'll be the spheres. What would the table be? Well, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't move. It doesn't have an opinion. So I suppose that would probably be Hod. I'm just making this up now. Yeah, it's solid. It's a foundation. Maybe that would be Teferes or Yisoid, or whatever it is. Yeah, that was what. This is what Adam was miscovered to in Gan Eden when he named the animals. He said he saw their shoresh. But when we say he saw their shoresh means, why didn't he name every animal Fred? Why did he have lions and tigers and elephants and giraffes, yeah? Because he was understanding them on a pneumius level according to the spheres of what spheres are malubush in this being that makes it as opposed to that. What makes water, let's just say it's because it's chesed. What makes fire is because it's gevura. Yeah, it's obviously much more complicated than that, but just to understand it, yeah? So when he was looking at these animals, he was understanding, and don't forget that the 22 oisius are they like how do you say it? They like
overlap.
Not overlap. They like overlay. They overlay the Esser spheres. The Esser spheres can be. I don't know. The Arizal does it all the time, where he gives you a partsuf, and then he explains that you can overlay like Yisrael Sabon Tavuna, yeah, with Abun Ima is an overlay over Chochma Bina. So you're talking about Chochma Bina, but really you're talking about Abba and Yisrael Sabon. So either way, but the 22 letters over. Anyway, so what Adam Arishan was doing, he was looking at a tiger and he was seeing Gvura in this measure, yeah, Chesed in this measure, Tiferes in this measure, Chochmah in this measure, Malchus in this measure, and with his understanding of reality, he was so synced in with reality, he said, well, this is called a chatul, or whatever I don't know what he called it, yeah? Jimmy, whatever he called it, yeah? But with his, that was what it is. That's what the word shore is. Shore is the description. Like someone said one time, a beautiful idea, is that what's the language most similar to Hebrew? You say Aramaic, yeah, for
Arabic
sure.
or Aramaic?
Oh, Arabic or Aramaic, yeah. He said, you know what the most similar language to Hebrew is?
Lashon HaKodesh.
Yiddish.
What?
Lashon HaKodesh.
No, Hassan, I'm talking about Lashon HaKodesh.
Yiddish.
No, the most similar language to Hebrew is the language of the of chemistry, the language of, like water is called H2O, the chemical language, the elemental language, whatever you call it, yeah. Water is H2O. It's one hydrogen atom and two oxygen atoms, yeah. So what is a H2O is a description of what it is. It's not a name. It's called water. So water would be like English. But the Hebrew is like H2O. You understand? Mem, Yud, Mem. That's just interesting. You've got two Mems and a Yud. Maybe that's something to think about. But anyway, so it's that's what the Hebrew is. But what are you actually, when you're talking about the Shoresh, the Shoresh, yeah, what are you actually talking about? Is you're talking about it's what we call in Chabad, you call it, it's Mahus. What's the difference between Etzem and Mahus? Etzem,
Manifestation and existence.
so it's not really fair. Kind of, I hear what you're saying, but Etzem is that first folder of is. On a level of Etzem, that could also be discussed indeed. But let's just say, Mahus is already what it is from Lashon Ma. It's what it is. It's not that it is. It's what it is. Its Mahus is mushrash in the Esa spheres.
Mahu. The matzav of Mahu. Mahut.
Uh-huh. So now listen, we didn't even say it. This is the punchline, which is what your question was. You're saying Simpson Kapshutoy. I'm saying this hezbir of Simpson She'ena Kapshutoy. This is the hezbir. Is that the Esespheres and Hashem? Now you don't say there's 11 spheres, that there's him and that he's another sphere, and you don't the Sefer Yitzhak, and you don't say there's 9 spheres and he's the top sphere. Yeah. He is. Well, you can't. There's the spheres are filters, so to speak, on him. He's bound up within the filters. He is the way I understand it. It's ridiculous if we talk about such things.
Polarized glass of different wavelengths.
That's the way I always understand it, and it's just a slightly different wavelength of the same thing, and it's the same essence, the same force.
So he is what fills the spheres, and the spheres are certain shaped glasses with certain color tints. That's it. He's the water in the kelim, if you want to say it like that. Yeah. So how bound with the spheres is he? He's intimately bound up in the spheres. Intimately, him and Ad Kedei Kach, that we call him a chochem, we call him a chassid, we call him a gibor, we call him a tzaddik, we call him a melech. All of these things, we call him that. That's his relationship to the spheres. I mean, you can't separate him from the spheres. And then you have the answer to Simsim Lo Kipshutoi. Meaning that the individuality of each thing is just a manifestation of him, Yisborach.
But then you get to the wave particle duality. Which...
Try and understand. We just said something very complicated, which if you don't try and understand it...
But if you look at the Pshat in Chumash, when Moshe wanted to go into the whole Ohel, and he couldn't because Hashem's glory was full over there, and Hashem had to let him in by making space for him, right?
Okay.
So that was the Tzimtzum Kipshuto.
Okay, say that. Understand.
I don't have an answer.
What we're trying to say here. What I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say here. Again, it's very important when you're trying to understand something difficult, is to not allow your mind to take you in different directions. It's so important. So what we're trying to say, the point of what we've just said, is that what makes you is also the Rabbanu Shalom. Meaning your individuality Just like the individuality of fire. Fire has an individuality. Fire is fire, it's not water. That is an expression of the spheres. And that's why the Rebbe Shalom created the world with 10 spheres, to show you how intimately bound with reality he is. And that's really what I was saying to Yitzhak Tuvia before, that the Eastern religions that have a good handle on
With the chakras.
they have a good handle on Yichud Ilah, yeah, the idea of the is folder, or even going the before you've got the folder bichlal, yeah, they've got a good handle. A lot of them got very good understanding of the screen itself, but the folder system inside the screen, they've got no understanding of that bichlal. To them, the folder system is just distracting you from the screen. By us, the reality of how we understand it is that the folder system is the gilui of the personality of the Rebbeinu Shalom. He is a chochem. We call him a chochem, yeah, but chochma is not. Chochma is like, you could call it maybe a direction, or that's a nice way of thinking of it. But what you said, it's a dimension. That was a really good. That's so helpful to say like that. You could say chochma is a dimension, yeah, and bina is a dimension, and tiferes is a dimension. Yeah, so when we say that Hashem is a Chochem, we mean that dimension of Chochmah, that's also Hashem. And when we talk about the dimension of Malchus, so now when we're talking about fire, which is Gevura, well, what's Gevura? It's just a dimension.
Right.
It's a dimension of Hashem. Hashem, in this sense, is a 10-faceted. He was miyachid himself with 10 dimensions. That's really helpful to say that.
But to zoom in on that point a little more, if you look at it, we all, or any manifestation in this world of a physical being, is different shiluf, the different concentration of each one of those dimensions. Everybody has on that somewhere on a.
And you're a kuma shalema. That's called a partsuf.
It's like the neguda on that 10-dimensional graph, right? But what differentiates us from Hashem is that Hashem is 100% of each one of those.
I would say we're also Tselem Elokim. This is Inyan Tselem Elokim.
Right.
Again, look, there's Hashem, and then there's what I think is me. Yeah, but that bit is that's a problem. That's what becoming a tzaddik is all about. That's what I keep trying to say to Shuli, yeah, is that tzidkus is not about anything other than understanding that you are. It's about understanding that you're not. That's what tzidkus is. Understanding that this forget the goof, yeah. The point of the point of consciousness is his brach. It belongs to him. It's his property, so to speak. That's a tzaddik. That's a genuine tzaddik, yeah. And how does that look? This is the question. It depends which dimensions does he. If he's gevur, I see in our generation, of all generations, that we like to see the tzaddikim. We connect to gevura mainly. You know, this idea of intense avoiders and like, you know, complete precious and v'chule, yeah. So that's okay. But that's just the personality type again, like what I'm saying. You could be a very chesedic guy, and it doesn't look like an impressive avoider, but there's no sense of inner self in a holy way. Anyway, so the point is that the Esser spheres, which again, like what you just said, is so helpful. I'm going to use that a lot now, Baruch Hashem. Are just we said are 10 dimensions, and those 10 dimensions give the feel of the multiplicity of the world, and that's the inyan of Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba Mavurach Le'olam U'Mayim. Why? Amen.
It's everything.
Yehei Shmei Rabba. What's Shmei Rabba?
His name will
Great
be
name.
all over.
What is that? I understand the translation. What is that? What are we referring to by Shmei Rabba?
Yichud
No. Completely not. The opposite. Shmei, his name is Malchus. Shmei Rabba is Loshem Riboy. We're talking about creation.
Right.
We're talking about all of creation. That's called Shmei Rabba. Shmei Rabbah, that's the Indian of a reboy of creation. Look at how many books there are. Look how many people there are. Look how many atoms there are. Yeah, the world is just endless bits, endless little balls.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
So
it's
we're going
mamash.
from your head.
So, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevurach. What's
Blessed.
Mevurach?
Malchus.
No, Mevurach is the Indian of Havocha, of drawing down. So the Amen is the Indian of the Spitz of Kesser, whatever, without getting into that, yeah? Amen, Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Mevurach, means drawing down from the essence of the Rebbeinu Shalom into the framework of creation as we understand it.
One question I have on that is, didn't we fully achieve that with our main?
Do we want?
Didn't we, based on our result, didn't we fully achieve that with our main already? Because our main is the Yichud of Havaya and Adna. And therefore, based on that, we already done the Yichud of Kesser and Malchus. And we've already drawn down the light.
B'yomu yeh Shem echad v'shmo echad, says Zechariah. That's what we're looking forward to. That's the final day when he and his name is one. And our avoider calls man that it's not one is Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah. Chazal were not simple people.
Right.
Yeah, they put that. How many times do you say Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah every day?
That Matt.
You think they did that stum? Like Kriya Shema, it's like we're sitting there learning like Uksin and Yevamas when we say Kriya Shema 3 times a day and Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah 100 times a day and Kedusha twice a day, 3 times a day, and we got all these things we're saying the whole time, and we're spending all our time learning about stuff that don't you think it makes sense to like put some time into learning about Uvala Tzion? Or at least when you Uvala Tzion is like Mamash Chazal talking to you on the deepest level. And Birchas Kriya Shema is Chazal Mamash talking to you, like telling you pshat. Look, don't get deluded by what everyone else says Yiddishkeit is. Yiddishkeit is this. They say it to you clear. But we just and we get back into the Gemara. Yeah, pay Mamash attention. At least pay attention while you're saying that. It wasn't something they made you stand there in front of that little book called the Siddur for so many hours a day.
I just heard that all these years learning in Jewish schools and Hebrew schools, these rabbis tell everybody down with kavanah, but they don't really know what they're saying. They don't know the language. I have a friend, the same thing, told me, he said, how do you want me to down with kavanah? All these years I've davened, but I don't know what I actually am saying.
These the words of Birchas Kriya Shema. And there's halakim of
Hebrew, and I understand, but I'm saying
but even when you know the words,
right.
you need to get a vocabulary. You need to understand the vocabulary of what's going on there, and how the Seder Shabbos is a progression.
But so they should have schools that teach you that in the school.
I understand. That's what I'm trying to do here.
I know.
But this is the whole avoid. I'm just saying. Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah is a description of, also a sheyotza, yeah? That's another book that we say more than anything else. You think Chazal didn't realize that? You think they weren't sitting there thinking, listen, we got to get this idea into these guys' heads. Yeah. Okay, great. They go to the toilet say 5, 6, 10 times a day. Yeah, well, let's make them say this thing after that, and if they manage to pay a little bit of attention to it, they'll start hupping reality. Yeah? And they're like, oh God, can't you just put that down and put some time into the Siddur. This is the book. We could have told you to learn Mishnayos. Do you think it would have been any different if the Anshe Knesset Gedolah had said, you know what, you're davening, you could go just say, Hashem, please give me Panasa today and make me feel well and give everyone good stuff. Finished. Now let's have a Seder of Mishnayos. Well, there couldn't have been a Daf Yomi from before, 100 years ago.
That's a perfectly valid prayer.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, exactly. So why did they put that little book in your hand and make you stand in front of it for so many hours a day? They've encoded in that book mamash everything. It's like mamash everything's there for you.
Listen, Kamana is even better, by the way, because they put Shema so many more times in Davening. We see just a pasuk Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. There's so many other points. The Kamana Rabbah did that in his Siddur, which that's a Kamana now.
So good. So do that.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
He adds in a few more times. Every time they go up another island, he adds in either Hashem Melech Hashem Malach Hashem Melech Lamed or Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad in places which Sephardim even don't do. But that was the Hekal Bracha.
Let me finish. Sorry to cut you off. So let me just finish this because I'd like to go now. Is that how do we do that? Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mavrach Le'Lam Le'Men Mayor. Bringing him into the riboy of reality, there's only one way. It's called Torah mitzvahs. So now fire is gevura, let's say. Fire is gevura, yeah? It's that dimension of God. But it's been taken out of context as it came into reality. Because now you look at fire, you don't think about gevura Hashem, you think fire, don't touch it, you get burned. How do you bring God into the fire? For example, stick that fire under some children on Erev Shabbos. Make a bonfire in Lag BaOmer. Light Hanukkah licht.
Lighting candles.
Lighting Hanukkah licht. That's bringing his Ratzon Pnimi into the world, and it comes out. That meter of his gets expressed through fire. Kolzman, the fire is being used to, to light candles in a brothel. Yeah, Rahman Litzlan. Yeah, something completely neged Ratzon Hashem. Yeah, well then that fire is in Gullus, as are the walls, as are the people, as are the everything else in that place.
What? What'd you say?
You light it in it,
To light a bat in a let's say in a temple or in an idol, temple of idolatry. That's probably better.
Or a cigarette.
Or a cigarette. Maybe also depends how. Yeah, but I mean, look, they said that some of the tzaddikim smoked as well in moderation. I think if you could smoke one cigarette a week, the covered Shabbos Kodesh before Shabbos, then I don't know if that would be us. But for sure, all of these sugar and all this stuff. The point is that is when that meter of the Rebbeinu Shalom is in Galus, is when that thing is like again, like we said. I'm assuming
you
that
say the what do you call it?
Covered Shabbos Kodesh.
Yeah, or I was thinking the guru or so whatever.
The semi-good
But the point is that the meter, Hashem's meter of that. I mean, l'chora, there's for sure the Yesod of there's for sure the dimension of Yesod in a table and in a chair. So Kolzman, a chair is being used not for avoidance Hashem. That meter of his is in Gullus. The minute this chair, these chairs now, let's just say, I'm just making this up, but I'm assuming it's probably true, that a chair has got a lot to do with Yesod. Yeah? So his midas Yesod is being expressed now because it's being used, it's connecting with Torah and mitzvahs, and that's now actually as a sideway, we kind of spoke about Kaf Gimel, but next week we'll get into Kaf Gimel in more detail, because we've put the framework there. But that's the point is, again, I said this a bunch of times, but just because it's so important to understand, is it's Nikolai, yeah? Nick. What Nick said, that's easy to remember. What Nick said, he said like this, are you trying to, about Simson Kupshutoi? Simson Kupshutoi, which was this machlokas in the 1600s between, what's his name, Ricky, Rav Ricky, was what the Rizal was coming to, whatever that was, it was the tzaddikim say you can learn his farm. He was a big tzaddik. Just you get this in your mom. So the Ben Ish Chai says that, like you can really learn a lot from him, but just this in your he didn't have. Right? Whatever I understand, but so we're showing you Simson Kupshuto means that there is some kind of empty space in creation. Yeah, but what we're trying to say is that no, what appears to be, he would say that there's a table that's not God. You can't call that God. Yeah, in the bathroom there's no God. That you can't say God is in the bathroom. Yeah, and he was the I think it was much more subtle. But he was saying you would come to be able to do a voider in the bathroom if you said it's like a pshuto.
Magid Shir said today in the morning earlier, says that's when the Yitzhak comes to really give you third. Unfortunately, in the bathroom or the shower.
The halacha is, but you realise that's how you bring Hashem into the bathroom. Is when a Torah thought comes to your mind and you don't think about it.
No, but
that's halacha. That's how you bring Hashem into the bathroom that way.
In Dafayomi today, Rabbi was mechadash chiddush, and while he was in the bathroom, and there was like a big
right.
In Dafayomi today, it's like why are we passing in like the psak that he
that
came out while
they came in the bathroom.
Where are you holding in Dafayomi?
Chaf base.
Chaf bet.
Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, so the point, what we're trying to say here is the reason why we have 10 spheres, the reason why Hashem used his 10 spheres, the method of his creation is 10 spheres, is to show you that all of the qualities of creation are him, not separate. That's how intimate he is with creation. But it's a molecule. You understand what a chatbah is, what a chiddush is. That's what I learned this week from Biol Khan.
I slept too.
So we should be zeicher to just realize the idea of screaming out to Hashem.
Hey, Shmeir up.
Well, that's really the avoidable. When you scream out to Hashem, when you scream out, you have to be careful because you have to realize that he's not far. He's really not far, and he's actually. To say he's even close is completely inaccurate. He's not close.
I saw this week that if you are saying your tefillah loud, Yishmael very loud, then it's a sign of kfirah and your tefillah is not be accepted because it makes you think that you have to say your words loud in order that God could hear them.
No, but you're supposed to say Amen Yishmael.
That's a declaration.
I was going to.
But that's only to lead other people to wake up.
But that's not saying Hashem. That's declaring what we're doing.
One of my sons got an award in camp for saying Yehei Shmei Rabbah Baruch as loud as you can. They actually gave him an award. But they never really taught them what you're teaching us.
Of course, yeah,
that's the point.
It's tragedy that we're sitting in yeshiva.
Yeah, scream, hey, Shmei Rabban Baruch, but they don't know why they're saying it.
It's like the halacha of saying Shmoneh Esrei. Why are you supposed to say Shmoneh Esrei?
Quiet.
So you could, but you're supposed to hear it. You're supposed to hear. There's a machloket whether your neighbor has to hear it or you're supposed to hear it. But it's just so the words leave your mouth, because it's a physical manifestation of the Shmoneh Esrei. Because you bringing your thoughts, not just reading with your eyes, you bringing your thoughts into physical manifestation. That's the only reason. It's not like you actually. Somebody needs to hear it. No, just
you. You have to hear it.
Yeah, the words need to leave your mouth.
The most helpful. We'll finish on this one last point. The most helpful way that I've understood of understanding what Shemona Esrei actually is that you are facilitating a conversation between the Shekhinah and a Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's not about you. You are a facilitator. The Shekhinah is talking through you to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's the yichud. That's the yichud of Atzilus. That's what.
I'm gonna have to sit with that for a bit.
A bit.
Wait, no.
A bit.
No.
Try a little longer. A little longer than a bit.
I learned when you're learning.
That's a very big